Hi everyone. So currently we are in the terminal, which is also called the shell, and it is running a special program called the command line interpreter. And the purpose of the command line interpreter is to process input from the user and execute commands by the user. So let's see here. This is the command prompt. And my prompt shows the time, and it also shows my location in the directory tree, which is signified by this small wave here, which is called a tilde. So the tilde is actually just a shorthand notation. If I execute the command pwd, so pwd and enter, which stands for print working directory, I can see that I'm actually located in the directory mp-silve, which is a subdirectory of the directory users. So mp-silve is in fact my username on this computer. And your home directory, which is this tilde directory, that one should be named according to your username. By the way, if you want to check your username, you can execute the command whoami, so whoami, and then press enter. And that should print your username. So for me, it prints mp-silve. So let's look at a few more useful commands. The first one is ls. And ls lists the contents of the directory where you are currently located. So let's say ls, enter. I have quite a few things here, and you may have less things if you just started using Linux. So let's get some contents into your home directory. And we'll do this using a command called wget. And that stands for wget, as far as I know. And it's a command that can fetch files from the internet onto your computer. So let's go to the web browser and to a page called gutenberg.org. This is a page where you can download a lot of books. So I'm going to search for a book called Life of the Bee. And that book is actually here. So it has this French name, but it is actually an English book. So let's click on the link. And then let's select the plain text UTF-8 format here. We'll talk more about text file formats later, but for now it's sufficient to know that UTF-8 is typically a good choice. Okay, so let's click on the link. And this shows you the book in text format. So what we do now is we copy this link and then go back to the command line interpreter. And here we type wget, which was the command that gets files from the internet. And then I'm going to paste the link to this book after the wget command. So pasting in Mac works just by using Command V, but I guess in Windows it's going to be something different. For instance, Control V, or maybe it just is sufficient to right-click on the screen. So now I'm going to press enter. And now it told me that it saved this book file called pg4511.txt. And if I run the ls command again, ls and enter, I can see that the book is actually here. Okay, so we now have this file called pg4511.txt on our computer. But of course, this is not a very good file name if you want to be able to kind of deduce what the contents of the file are based on the file name. So let's rename this file to something a little bit more descriptive. And we're going to do that using the move command. And it works like this. MV stands for move, and then pg 4511.txt, which is the name of the file that we want to rename. And then we're going to type in the new name. So that's going to be life underscore of underscore b.txt. And then just hit enter. And now if we rerun this command ls and hit enter, we can see that we now have the file life of b in this directory. So there are two nice commands which are meant for looking at text. These are cat and less. The cat command actually just prints the content of each of these argument files onto the screen. So let's try that one. So cat space life of b.txt and then hit enter. Well, as you can see, this is not a very useful command for reading long files unless you're a very, very fast reader. So for looking at long text files, we have a more suitable command called less. So let's try that one. So less life underscore of underscore b.txt. Now, this actually opens this less program for us. So we are now no longer in the command line interpreter, and we can move up and down using the arrow keys. So here you can see kind of the book and the table of contents. So I'm just scrolling down using the down key on my keypad. So this is the table of contents. Then you can see the beginning of chapter 1. So now we can scroll up and down, and this allows us to actually read the text file. We can also search. So if I type /, then I can write a term that I would like to find in this book. So let's write in queen. And when I press enter, it's going to show me the first 3 hits of the term queen in this book. And when you get bored of reading, you can just press Q for quitting less. So by the way, there are 2 nice features which can make it simpler to execute commands. If you want to re-execute some command, you can scroll through your command history using the up arrow and down arrow. So if I press up once, I see this previous command less life of b. And if I now press enter, then this again opens this less program for us. And now I'm just going to quit using Q. You can also scroll back as long as you want. So I can also look at, for instance, this wget command that fetched this text file for me. And if you want to get a new fresh command prompt again, then just press Ctrl+C, and it's just going to jump to the next command prompt. And you can start typing a new command here. So the other convenient feature is tab completion. So let's say I start typing less, and then li. Now if I press tab, it's going to complete the name of this file life of b for me. Because the command line interpreter assumes that I'm talking about some file in this directory, and the only file that starts li in this directory is actually life of b. So if I press enter again, I get into less, but let's just quit. So I can also copy files, and for this I'm going to use a command called cp. cp stands for copy. So let's copy this life of b file under another name, life of b copy. So that's cp space life. I'm just going to use tab completion here. So now I typed life, and it's going to complete it to life of b for me. And then let's rename it to life_of_b_copy.txt. Like that. And now if I list the contents of the directory again using ls and enter, I can see that I have this original file lifeofb.txt here, but I also have the lifeofb.txt copy. Okay, well, these files are now completely identical, so I'm just going to remove the copy one. So for that, I'm going to use a command called rm, remove, rm space life of, and now I'm going to use tab completion again. But now the command line interpreter doesn't know whether I'm talking about lifeofb.txt or lifeofbcopy.txt. So I need to help it a little bit and type one more underscore here. And now it knows, now I'm talking about the copy file. So just rm and the file name and press enter, and it's going to remove this file for me. It may ask you to accept the removal, and if it does, then you just need to press Y and enter. So there's just one thing you need to remember about this rm command. When you remove a file under Linux or Unix, it'll be gone, at least in theory. So there is no recycling bin as in Windows. You may be able to recover the file if nobody overwrote the actual part of the hard disk where the data is located. But this is a bit tricky, and there's no guarantee that you'll be able to do that. So please make sure that you actually want to remove a file before removing it. Okay, so the final topic of this video is creating directories. And directories are a great way to organize things so that you don't clutter your home directory with a lot of files. So let's create a new directory using the mkdir command. That stands for make directory. So mkdir space, and then I'm going to create a directory for this course. So cmd command line underscore course. And then hit enter. And if I now type ls and enter, you can see that we now have a new directory here, which is called cmd line course. Now we can move this file that we had, lifeofb.txt, into the directory using the move command again. So mv space and then lifeofb, and I'm going to use tab completion for this. So press tab, and the command line interpreter knows how to complete that into the file name. And then I'm going to move this file into the directory cmd line. I'm going to use tab completion here again, like that. And then just hit enter, and now it should be there. So if we check the home directory, there is no lifeofb.txt file here anymore. But if we actually check the cmd line course directory, so ls and cmd and then tab completion, and then press enter, we can see that it now actually does contain lifeofb.txt. So to enter a subdirectory like this, you need to use the cd command. That's change directory. So cd space and then cmd line underscore course, and then enter. And now my command prompt is showing me that I'm now located in this cmd line underscore course directory, which is a subdirectory of my home directory, this tilde directory. So if I use the print working directory command, pwd, and enter, I can see that this is actually where I am. So under the cmd line course, in the directory mpsilve, which is my home directory, under the directory users. And if I type ls here and enter, I see that there's actually a file, lifeofb, in this directory. So If you want to go back to the parent directory, that means this directory where the current directory is located, you need to execute a command cd and then space full stop, and enter. And this always takes you one step up in the directory hierarchy. So let's press enter. And now we are in our home directory again. So this was a crash course to some of the basics of the command line environment, and hope you enjoyed it.